Hello and welcome to Quietly Talking Movies ASMR channel. My name's Matt, and in this video it is my great pleasure to talk about this beauty, which is the art book called The Art and Soul of Dune Part 2. And as I said, it's an art book, so it's not a film in a Blu-ray form or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is essentially a little bit of an unboxing, as well as a flip through the art book itself. When it comes to Dune, I haven't read Dune the books when I was young, and before I actually saw the Dune Part 1 film. And even after the film itself, I wasn't really actually into reading Dune the books by Frank Herbert. However, I really liked the Denis Villeneuve film, and what I have here is my proud edition of Dune Part 1, which I have on 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray in the limited edition Bene Gesserit paintbox version. It's one that I really like. I had the steelbook for some time. However, what I love about editions, and I guess it's some video that I would actually like to make in the future, is essentially like how I collect films. What versions do I pick? And what I like about films is essentially to have a collector's version of that, right? And I think this one actually really gives me that. So it's not just a plain packaging, it's not just a slipcover, it's not just a steelbook, it's essentially the packaging as well as the films themselves, whether that's steelbook, whether that's digipack, or whether that's a standard 4K case, but also the extras that I get. And this actually gives me a lot of that, including the booklet. So I might actually go through it in the future, not really now. But yeah, I really liked the Dune Part 1. I saw it in IMAX in 2001, and it was one of the best cinematic experiences I have had. But then the Dune Part 2 came out, and it's really it's hard, but it's also not hard to put it into words. But essentially, it succeeded the Dune Part 1 in every way. This is the art and soul of Dune Part 2, and I wanted to actually get the Dune Part, the art and soul of Dune Part 1 first. However, I'm still kind of like hesitant on that, because these are not cheap. And these albums are costing quite a nice penny. And I think I paid £37 or £35 for that on Amazon. However, the recommended retail price that you can get this for in bookshops like Waterstones, it's £50. So so if you're going to find it for £50, please do know that you can actually get it cheaper on Amazon. But that being said, still, please support your local bookshops. Buy from them whenever you can. Okay. Okay, so that's the Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, the Art and Soul, and it is quite big and quite heavy. I'm gonna try to actually fit everything into the frame, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do so. Yeah, so what we have here is the Art and Soul of Dune Part 2. It is written by Tanya Lapointe and Stephanie Bruce. We got a foreword by Denis Villeneuve. We got the introduction by Brian Herbert, who I believe is the son of Frank Herbert, the author. And the introduction is also by Kevin J. Anderson. And Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 are based on the novel by Frank Herbert, as I mentioned. Here's the spine. It's quite big. Not sure if you can actually see that in the frame. The Art and Soul. I think once here's the back with beautiful graphics. I think what's interesting actually about this art books, Tanya Lapointe, I believe she's the producer on the Dune films as well. So she's not just doing the art books, she's also the producer of the films. Okay, so let's get the knife. And let's unwrap it. I'm really excited for that one. She got it quite recently. I think like 2 days ago. Okay. With the wrappers. Okay, so that's them. I think I might even maybe later put on the gloves. So what we have here is essentially a little bit of a slip box, right, of the book itself. Oh, what a glorious book. There's nothing inside, but anyway, so we can basically put that away. Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful one. Let's put on the knife as well. The Art and Soul of Dune. So that's the spine, and then the back. We got, I'd like to say it's Paul, but it might be Chani as well at the end of the film. If you've seen that, you might know. Okay, so let's put that into focus, and I try to actually flip through. I don't want to make this video too long. I think if you're interested in this book, you can essentially just go and buy it, and if you find it worthwhile, just you can look what's inside and decide if it's something you'd actually like to get. In all honesty, I have no idea what's inside. I have not seen any videos of unboxing of the first one or of this one. But nonetheless, I'm sure I'm going to love it. So here it is, The Art and Soul of Dune Part 2. Oh, absolutely. I'm just gonna try to make sure that it's actually in the center. Okay, around that way. Yeah, that's fantastic. Dune. Not sure if that's Arrakis. Maybe. So I think it's there's a couple of books that are actually roaming around Dune. So obviously we got The Art and Soul of Dune Part 1, but we also got the Photography of Dune Part 1, and it's basically a collection of the photographs that were taken during the production of Dune, which I think is quite different from what this album is about, right? The Art and Soul. So The Art and Soul is basically a collection of art and conceptual graphics that were made for the films. So we go on the legendary The Art and Soul of Dune Part 2, Tanya LaPointe with Stephanie Bruce. So it's everything, and it is made, I forgot to actually mention, it's made by Titan Books, an Insight Editions book made out of London. Contents. So the contents are, we got the foreword, we got the introduction, we got from Part 1 to Part 2, setting the stage, Kaitain, not sure how to pronounce that, back to Arrakis, villain territory, Spice Wars, desert power, desert power, not desert, and beyond the storm belt, cataclysm. I got the acknowledgements and information about Frank Herbert, I believe. And here's the foreword by Denis Villeneuve. If you'd like to read that, you can pause. Not sure if it's actually coming across because it's written in silver letters. It's written in silver letters. And we got, I think, a couple of information about what are the images on the next pages. The 2 moons of Arrakis were on the first page, and I think that's the one. The 2 moons of Arrakis. The page 2 and 3, early sandworm riding concept art. So this is the concept art of the early sandworm. We got next. We got the Imperial tent and Sardaukar encampments. So that's the tent, if you can call that a tent. I don't know. And the Sardaukar encampments. Basically everything that you can see in the finale. I'm not gonna try to talk about the film and the plot, so no spoilers in here. And this page is, and by the way, this early concept art of the siege tower entrance. That's them, I think. 6 and 7. And this is actor Josh Brolin and director Denis Villeneuve. By the way, so talking about the different books for Dune. So we have The Art and Soul of Dune Part 2. However, we're also going to get Dune Exposures book, which is a book by Josh Brolin and the director of cinematography, Greg Fraser. They both basically are releasing a book with photography that they made during the production of Dune films. So they're basically their own photographies from the cameras and so forth. So it's really interesting. I already saw like a flip through of that book. So if you're interested in picking that one, you might actually get interested and into getting this. At the same time, I think George Brolin got really famous on the social media recently because of the poems that he was writing during the production. He was writing poems he was writing poem to Timothée Chalamet, and he wrote a poem to Timothée Chalamet about him. He wrote a poem to, I think, who was that? To Léa Seydoux. He wrote poems about a lot of people from the production. He was taking pictures. So it seems that Josh Brolin, I think, out of all the cast of Dune, he had the most fun, which is really nice to see. So that's the foreword. Here we have the introduction with words by Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson. The smell of this book is brand new, fresh book out of the wrappers. Here we have, I think, a couple of photographies from it seems, the award seasons, as well as the maybe premieres of the Dune Part 1 films. Yeah, so let's see, this page, the cast travelling to the Dune Part 1 premiere at the Venice Film Festival. That's here. I think all of them are actually from travelling to the Venice Film Festival. That's really good to see how good fun they all had. Oh, look at this, another couple of production stills, all smiles, and obviously the biggest smile and laugh is actually, you can't see that, Josh Brolin over here. Sorry about the glare, I actually have the lamp on the right side. Yep. So it's basically a couple of this information about the story. You can see here, and it seems we get a couple of photographies from the actual film, not just the concept art or the graphics. I'm just going to flip through. I don't want to actually take too much of your time, but just for you to get like a general idea on what it is like. But the paper itself is glossy. It's super glossy. It's prone to collecting fingerprints. So it might be, make sure to, from time to time, if you want, just clean the pages themselves. It's really just concept arts, as well as, for example, like this is not a concept art. So this has to be is it a concept art? That's a concept art. That's really interesting. I thought that's a real, actual production design, not a concept art. Yeah, it's interesting. Harvesters, still suits. That's actually quite a heavy paint. Okay, the sandworm riding. Chitin. I have no idea what that is. Is that where, from the look of it, like from the concept art, is that where the emperor lives? Because there was some green lush areas in where the emperor, in the emperor scenes. Are those actually from there? Ah, here's my answer. Yes. Chitin. Okay. I'm gonna know for the future. There we go, Florence Pugh. Yeah, this is actually the recorder that she actually had recording her diaries. I don't know if it's a diary or basically something else that she was doing, but she was recording through this, and it was kind of like an old school but also futuristic at the same time. So here you actually get the information on what it was, how they designed it, I guess, and how it works. But oh my gosh, this as well. On the right, the Brian Sanctuary in Italy. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. Sanctuary. The Emperor and Bene Gesserit. Princess Iran. Back to Arrakis. So I'm just going to skip through a couple of pages, so I'm sorry if you're actually not getting like a full view of what every page actually stores. A couple of stills from the film, photos from the film. What all the elements in the film are. So I believe these are actually the vessels that were collecting the water from the dead before they were actually pouring it back into the sacred waters. Dome room. Everything about how they produced and created the production design. Very cool to know. So many souls. Got quotes from people who were making the film. Got the production designer Patrice Vermette. The Fremen prophecies have been engraved on the walls and written on the floor of the dwellings. Yes. Water of life. Look, as they were actually shooting out. Look in how narrow, basically shooting the film, and they had to sit because of the ceiling. Like, I'm not sure where they were actually shooting that. Page 83 now, the weird page opposite. The crew filming in Ramalho's den. So apparently it's a real life location, and they were enabled to actually make enough of a room for themselves. Got Denis Villeneuve over here, and I believe that is Greg Fraser. I'd like to think that's Greg Fraser, the cinematographer. I don't know. Fedaykin comes. Villain territory. So I believe that's the Gedi Prime, the homeworld of the House Harkonnen. Feyd-Rautha, played by Austin Butler. Fantastic information, like about the film, how they got created, how they really transformed the written word of Frank Herbert into this fantastic piece of science fiction. cinema that they made right now. Lea Seydoux, Lady Fendring. What's her name? Margaret. Lady Margot Fendring. Secret agent of the Bene Gesserit. We got, I think, okay, this one in particular, I think these are the, so when Denis Villeneuve, you might have already seen some of the interviews that he's making, but in the interviews he mentions that he's a great believer in in storyboarding his films. So obviously he, I'm trying to recollect his words, but did he mention that he essentially first storyboards the film and then writes it? Basically he writes and also storyboards, and the storyboards are really important for him. So opposite top, storyboards depicting Feyd-Rautha following Lady Fendring into her room. Yeah. Spice Wars. These are great images from the film itself. Screen captures. So it's not just concept art. This is a concept. These are concept arts, but not everything is concept art. It basically goes into the production of the films. You got lots of quotes. I'm gonna really dig deep into this book at some point, definitely. As I'm going to revisit. Here we go, Raban, played by Dave Bautista. Got landmines. Warm units. The dog collar. What do we mean, dog collar? The dog collar was built with sand screens that reflected natural sunlight to match footage shot later in Abu Dhabi. But what is a dog collar? I guess I'm gonna know where I'm gonna read it. Now look at this. This is like real high resolution imagery. It's really good quality of print over here. Something we're not going to see like on the film itself if you're going to be rewatching that on a 4K Ultra HD disc. Beyond the storm belt. So the storm belt is basically this. So on the equator of Arrakis, there's this storm belt which basically prohibits people from the north, where there is the capital Arrakeen, to actually venture beyond, because this is like really nearly impossible. It's basically a death trip, right? So basically, and down south, that's where most of the Fremen actually live, beyond the touch of the Harkonnens. Meeting the Maker. Oh, the baby worm. Sorry for skipping through a lot, but this is basically, I think the artwork is basically following what goes on with the film. So it basically goes until the from beginning to ends, and I don't want to spoil a lot. Yeah, this seems very much that the back of the art book is essentially Chani, so it's not Paul. End of the line. Thank you from the people. Acknowledgements. Thank you to Denis Villeneuve for sharing his creative process. Yeah. Tanya Lapointe. So here's the information about the writer of this art book, and we got a biographical note of Frank Herbert as well. And that's the end, and we're getting greeted with the soundbook. Yeah, it looks really lovely, and I can't wait to actually dig into that. It's a great piece if you're a fan of the film, and if you'd actually like to know a bit more about it, get to know how it was actually made. I'm sure we are actually going to get a lot of special features on the 4K disc, but to actually get this in a physical form like this is also real special. And at the same time, if you're a film collector, to actually have a piece like this to display perhaps on your coffee table, I think that really adds to the charm, and really shows your it allows your personality to shine as well. So yeah, that's the art and soul of Dune Part 2. If you liked it, please go ahead and buy and support the people who made it. Please support the bookshops who are actually selling this and are making this available for those. And yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be talking about Dune Part 1 and 2 at greater length at some point in the future. But with this video, I just wanted to actually show you the art book itself, without actually going into the specifics of the films. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to actually leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps a lot. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.